Ms. Carolyn Gunderson. The name of her speech is Crucial Conversations. Crucial Conversations, Carol Gunderson.
Let me take you back to your childhood for just a moment. Do you remember that Tarzan movie with Johnny Weissmuller? Perched at the top of that huge rock at the top of that stream where he would dive down 50 yards into the bottom. I loved that gorge. The water was rushing, the boulders were huge. That film was filmed in Ithaca, New York, on my college campus at Cornell University. In 1980, I would walk every day along the footbridge, walking across that beautiful, pristine gorge. And at night, well, I walked a little faster because a rapist had been dragging women into the woods at the edge of the gorge. I heard him. I heard his footsteps. I heard him coming faster, faster. I walked fast, and as he spun me around, I was looking in the eyes of Michael Ross. Later, he would be dubbed the Ivy League murderer. 7 women would be raped, battered, and left dead in rocky graves. I'll leave the story here at the edge of the cliff. Mr. Contest Chair, esteemed judges, my fellow Toastmasters and friends, what would you do if you were looking in the eyes of a killer? Crucial conversations. The next few words that came out of my mouth would determine whether I lived, whether I died, whether I'd be raped and battered, or whether I would be here today to tell my story. Crucial conversations. There's executive training for that. This book will tell you what to do in every difficult conversation of your life. But here's the problem. I was 20 years old. I hadn't read the book. I blame the author. She hadn't written the book. So there I am at the age of 20. The cliff is literally behind me. It's 50 feet, and I am not Johnny Weissmuller. You may not have noticed that, but diving in, landing neatly in that water is not one of my options. Mike had me like a vice grip on my arm. He's 6 foot tall. He's a farm boy. If I fight, I will lose. I knew him, though. I'd been at a fraternity party with him because I dated one of the guys from Alpha Zeta. And I looked in his eyes, his steely eyes. The guy had no soul. But I tried to brazen it out. Michael Ross, what are you doing? You scared the tar out of me. Don't you sneak up behind women at the edge of a gorge. And he laughed, and he dug his arms in, and he pulled me toward the woods. Crucial conversations. In this book, had I read the book, had she written the book, it would teach you the parts of the brain. If you activate the front part of the brain, that's the thinking part of the brain. The back part of the brain, that's the violent part of the brain. If you say the right words, you will change a man's thinking. If you change a man's thinking, you will change what he did. The next words that popped out of my mouth were, Michael, what's your mother doing? We talked about her on Wednesday. He was worried sick about his mother. He had left, and as a farm boy, they had no one to take care of those large chicken cages. She'd hurt her back. And I said, Michael, what happened with your mother and her back? And he said, my mother? He was still mad. I said, her back, your mother. Yeah, she needed help, right? We talked about this Wednesday. And at first he was gruff, but he proceeded to tell me about his mother and their egg farm in Connecticut and the mortgage payments because interest rates were 16%. And he took my backpack and put it on his back, and we slowly walked back up the footpath. And he walked me to my dorm. And he handed me my backpack. I said, thank you, Michael, for carrying my backpack. He said, well, my mother raised me right. Serial murderer. His mother raised him right. Well, I'm glad it's not his mother's fault between you and me. He's going to be polite, carry a girl's backpack, if he's not going to murder her and leave her in the gorge. So where does that leave all of us? What can we learn from the edge of a cliff? Crucial conversations. You have an opportunity with your words to change what people do. 7 women were left battered, bloody, beaten, dead in the bottom of a gorge, and I'm here today to share with you a message that they did not know. Your words can change your destiny. With the right words, you can be the woman who stays safe, who loves her husband, who lives her life. But it takes a moment to do something different than what that man expects you to do. The next time you're in a difficult situation, say your VP of Education is raging and screaming, I've got a schedule to fill out, I'm mad as whatever. We can't say that in a contest. What you need to do is do what I did. Ask a question. Ask a question, change the tone, change the tone, change the direction. A lesson for all of us today. Mr. Contest Jim.
For L43 International Speeches. Second place is Carol Gunderson.